So, I have a question. Have you ever read a book that when it was over, you didn't want it to be over? Or have you ever had your favorite TV show canceled before they actually finished telling you the story? All right, well, I have a solution for you. Fanfic. Okay? So, fan fiction is a genre of literature, or at least it should be. So, what is a genre? It is a category of artistic, musical, or literary composition characterized by a particular style, form, or content, according to Merriam-Webster. Okay? Fanfic, also known as fanatic fiction or fan fiction, are stories involving popular fictional characters or settings that are written by the fans and usually posted on the internet. Okay? There is a really famous piece of fan fiction that recently made a movie series. Any guesses? 50 Shades of Grey. That actually started out as a Twilight fanfic AU, which I will get into what AU is later. Okay? So, now, I realize that I used a not very school-friendly example, all right? But that doesn't mean that it shouldn't be a part of mainstream culture or even utilized in classrooms, okay? Fanfic authors are authors, and they deserve credit where credit is due. And also not. I'll get into that in a minute. So, what I'd like to see is fan fiction standing proudly as its own legitimate genre on the world stage and in classrooms. Okay? For starters, writing is hard. It really is. Okay? Please, once again, raise your hand if you could come up with a story with characters, settings, and backstories for all of your individual characters. Could you do that in this class period? I couldn't. And if you can, I applaud you. I really, really do, but I could not. That's a beautiful skill. I don't have it. Okay? So, fan fiction is a great way to help with that because it provides a base. All right? Alicia Magnifico of Literacy Magazine said it very well. Writing fan fiction is fan-created transformative works using the characters, storylines, and/or settings of favorite media as the source material. Narrative writing plays a major part in the ELA curriculum across K-12 schools in the United States. When I was in the classroom as a paraprofessional and a sub, I cannot tell you how many times I heard, "Mrs. Sharp, I don't know what to write about," during our narrative units. Like, every day. I really, really wish I would have thought of this sooner, okay? Tell me the story of Harry Potter for the first 3 days after he defeated Lord Voldemort. Tell me that story, okay? Tell me what becomes of your character after the storyline is concluded in Call of Duty or whatever video game you're playing. Tell me that story, okay? Tell me the story of the movie Encanto from Louisa's perspective. Okay? I'm convinced I would not have nearly had as hard a time getting words on paper from these kids if I would have suggested that. I'm so sure of it. Okay? Should originality be encouraged whenever possible? Yes. I'm not discrediting original work in the slightest. Should students be allowed to portray these characters as their own? No, definitely not. I am not saying that. Nonetheless, fan fiction writers have a very unsung talent. Some extend the original stories above and beyond anything the original creator likely imagined. I have read fan fictions that are book length, 20+ chapters, and over 1 million words. To put this number into perspective for you, the 7-book Harry Potter series has 1,084,000 words. You can Google it. So if they are having one book length piece of work with 1 million words, they put a lot of effort to their story craft. Okay. The next thing we need to see is writers being acknowledged as the creative beings that they are as they acknowledge their forebears. That is to say, allowing fan fiction to take place in the classroom opens the door for teaching citation organically. Okay? Anyone who has ever read a fan fiction knows that the first thing you're going to read is a disclaimer. It says, I do not own the original work, characters, and settings portrayed in this story. They belong to insert author name here. I am writing not for financial gain, but purely my own enjoyment, or something to that effect. The name of the author is included, and you are acknowledging that you don't own that. Okay? It's really simple, and it's really natural way to segue into that, or to explain to students who already know what fan fiction is, what citing is, and how they connect. Again, giving credit where credit is due and where it's not. Now, this is something that needs to be actually mentioned to your students, because if you're providing that option to students who have never done it before, they wouldn't know to look for that piece. So you have to make sure you talk about the disclaimer initially. And the last piece is creating an ending or finding an ending for a story you need an ending for. Okay, Professor Jameson of the University of Utah English Department defines fan fiction as writing that continues, interrupts, or riffs off of other stories and characters other people have already written. That is to say, it's continuations, alternate timelines. So it's like, what if one tiny decision was a little bit different? We've all heard of the parallel universe. Every choice makes a new parallel universe. Heard about that theory, the multiverse or whatever? Yeah, that's where that plays on. And the alternate universe version of the story. So if we go back to 50 Shades of Grey, okay, that was a alternate universe with mortal Edward and Bella involved in a different dynamic of their relationship. So you see how it has multiple levels of complexity and change available. Okay, so let's get into it. Say you have a TV show that gets canceled before they complete it. Before they complete the story, before they tie up all of their loose ends, before they seal up all those little random plot points, like Firefly. Kind of waving my nerd flag here a little bit, but that's okay. Firefly. There's a more than fair chance that you can find some sort of completion story to that TV show on the internet. I promise. I can almost promise. Okay? You know, particularly with your popular shows or your cult classics that have really strong, dedicated fan bases, also known as fandoms. Or you have series that start out really, really good, but they are finished with a ghostwriter, like Vampire Diaries. I'm not sure if anybody's read Vampire Diaries, but L.J. Smith did not finish writing that series. She had a ghostwriter towards the end. So if you really, really love that series, but you're like, I can absolutely tell where the ghostwriter came in, maybe go look for a continuation story from that point. You might find something a little bit more satisfactory. Just saying. Alright? Or you have characters from an old-fashioned movie that you really, really love, but you want to see what it looks like in the modern day era. So you could go find a Princess Bride story set in 2015. Like, that would look totally different than the Princess Bride that we all know and love. There's so many avenues with this and so much talent out there. In an article by Becca Schaffner, I read points that I agreed with and points that I did not. But one thing that stuck out to me was the inherent value of fan fiction and where that value comes from. It is the connectedness. What makes fan fiction valuable and powerful, however, is what it becomes, a large community of readers, unconstrained by time, distance, age, or talent. There are platforms all over the internet dedicated to fan fiction of every rating you can imagine, where people come together to read and write and edit together. It's really beautiful. I would love to see broader access to these stories because it provides us with more young writers. okay? I would love to see it in the classroom, okay? I would love the opportunity to talk to my kids' teachers outside of parent-teacher conference when they have 4 minutes to talk to me and say, hey, can we try this? I would love to see where they go with this. You know, tell my kids, hey, go write something based off of this show that you love so much. It'll get you off my TV. You know, it's awesome. So, go read a fanfic. Go talk about it on social media. Encourage your child, your niece, your nephew, your teachers to put it in their classrooms. It is so, so powerful and could be so hopeful.